KCA students, you survived your very first week of school. I hope it went amazingly. And we are officially starting our first grammar lesson. So, get out a fresh sharpened pencil with an eraser and make sure you have the document titled KCA Grammar Year 1 Week 2 printed and out in front of you. And there should be 2 pages to this document, a page that says KCA Grammar Year 1 Week 2 Lesson and KCA Grammar Year 1 Week 2 Homework. So we're going to start our grammar lesson today learning about the 4 purposes of a sentence. We are going to be using these 4 purposes throughout the whole year, so this lesson is pretty important. The 4 purposes of a sentence are declarative, exclamatory, interrogative, and imperative. A declarative statement makes a statement and ends with a period. For example, cotton grows in the Black Belt of Alabama. That's a statement. It's a fact. It makes a declaration and it ends with a period. The second type of sentence, an exclamatory sentence, shows excitement or strong feeling and always ends with an exclamation point. For example, I found it. This ends in an exclamation point, and it shows excitement and strong feeling. An interrogative sentence asks a question and ends with a question mark. For example, do you whistle while you work? It asks something, and it ends with a question mark. An imperative sentence expresses a command or request and ends with a period or an exclamation point. For example, clean your room. Someone is expressing a command or request, or even the command run, exclamation point. They're telling you to do something. The next thing we're going to learn are the 5 parts of a sentence. You want to be asking yourself, every sentence you read, is this truly a sentence? Does this make complete sense? And the 5 parts of a sentence are a subject, a verb, complete sense, a capital letter, and an end mark, whether that be a period, an exclamation point, or a question mark. So, an example of a subject might be a name, maybe Mary. A subject is going to be anything that's going to perform an action in your sentence, and the action is going to be a verb. So maybe Mary drove. So now we see we have a subject and a verb. So then you're going to ask yourself, does this make complete sense? An example of a sentence that doesn't make complete sense might be, Mary drove to. You ask, where did Mary drive to? That's not a complete sentence. That's not a complete thought. A complete sentence also has a capital letter at the beginning, and it ends with an end mark. So a period, maybe an exclamation point or a question mark. So we're going to keep this up here as a little checklist so we can make sure all of our word groupings are truly a sentence. So now that you know what a subject is, we're going to learn about the 2 types of subject. There are nouns and pronouns. A noun is a word that names a person, place, thing, or idea. So an example of a noun might be Mary, which names a person, or maybe school, pen, book. These are all nouns, and they can all be subjects in our sentences. Now, a pronoun is any word that takes the place of a noun. So that could be she, he, it, they, you, me, and more. So it's any word that can take the place of one of our nouns. So instead of saying Mary drove, you could say she drove, and that would be a subject pronoun. So now that we know the 4 purposes of a sentence, the 5 parts of a sentence, nouns and pronouns, we're going to start our lesson work. So you're going to want to copy everything that I do on the whiteboard onto your first piece of paper that says Grammar, Year 1, Week 2 lesson. So the directions for this lesson say, check the sentences below to see if they are truly sentences. Label the subject as a noun or a pronoun and the verb of each sentence, and state the sentence's purpose. So our first sentence states, my large, colorful map shows all 50 states. And we want to start by labeling the subject and the verb. So the subject of this sentence is going to be a noun, and according to our definition of a noun, it says a word that names a person, place, thing, or idea. The noun performing any action in this sentence is going to be your map. And we can tell it's a noun because it names a person, place, thing, or idea. In this case, it's a thing. So you're going to label it as subject, noun, SN for short. And the action it's performing is actually that it's shows all 50 states. It's displaying something. So you're going to label the verb, V for verb. The next thing we want to do is go to our little checklist to see if it's truly a sentence. So we know it has a subject, we know it has a verb. Does it make complete sense? Yes, it does. Does it have a capital letter? It does. And it has an end mark. So we know that this is a complete sentence. Next, we need to state the sentence's purpose. So you might want to look above on the piece of paper so you can see your 4 purposes of a sentence, and you want to ask yourself, what is this sentence trying to accomplish? This sentence is making a statement. So, what type of sentence is it? A declarative sentence. You can write out declarative, or you can just write DEC. So sentence number 2 says, the president lives at the White House. Now we want to start by finding our subject. The noun performing the action is going to be president. And it's a subject noun because it's a person, president. And the action that's going to be completed is the word lives. So this is going to be our verb. Now we want to check if this is truly a sentence. So does it have a subject? Does it have a verb? Does it make complete sense? Does it have a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence? And does it have an end mark? Now what we want to notice here is this end mark. It's an exclamation point. And so that tells us what? It tells us that the purpose of this sentence is to make an exclamation. So the purpose of the sentence is going to be exclamatory. So you're going to write at the bottom, exclamatory, or X, EX. So our third sentence says, 2 sneaky pirates hid their treasure in a cave. So the subject of our sentence is going to be pirates. Now, is it a noun or is it a pronoun? It's a noun. And the action being completed, what are the pirates doing? The pirates are hiding. So the action completed is hid, and that's our verb. Now we go back through, we ask, is it truly a sentence? Is there a subject? Yes. Is there a verb? Yep. Does it make complete sense? Yes. Is there a capital letter? Yes. Is there an end mark? Yes. Here's our end mark. And our end mark here is going to be a question mark. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the purpose of the sentence is to ask a question. So this makes the sentence purpose interrogative. Okay, our fourth sentence says, she took the dog for a walk. Now, who's performing the action in this sentence? She. So we see she is our subject. Now we ask ourselves, is our subject a noun or a pronoun? Our subject is going to be a pronoun because she is a word that takes the place of a noun. It could take the place of a name. Maybe Jane took the dog for a walk. Instead it says she took the dog for a walk because she is a word that takes the place of a noun. Now, we ask ourselves, what is the verb for the sentence? What is the action being performed? The action being performed is actually took. She took the dog for a walk. What is she doing? She is taking. So now we ask ourselves, is it truly a sentence? Well, it has a subject, a verb, it makes complete sense, has a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence, and it has an end mark. So what is the purpose of our sentence? It is to make a statement. She took the dog for a walk. This is declaring something. It's making a statement and declaring a fact, which means this is a declarative sentence. So sentence 5 is a little trickier. The sentence reads, eat your food. And the first thing you might notice about this sentence is that it's a little bit different. It is making a command. This is someone requesting something of someone else. Someone telling someone else to do something. Eat your food. So when we're looking for the subject is going to be understood. It's not necessarily written here, but we understand that the subject is going to be you. You eat your food. When your mom tells you, clean your room, you understand that she's talking to you. You understand that you are to be the one performing the action. So the subject of sentences such as this is going to be you. And although it's not stated, we understand that. And so you're going to write the word you, just like this, next to the sentence. And we know that the word you is a pronoun because it takes the place of a noun, of a name. So we're going to label that as subject pronoun. And it's in parentheses because although it's not stated, it's understood. The subject is you. Now, the action in this sentence would be eat. You eat. You do what? You eat. And now we have to ask, is it truly a sentence? It does have a subject, you. It does have a verb, eat. It makes complete sense. It has a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence. And it has an end mark, a period. And now we already know the purpose of this sentence is to make a command. So, what does that make the sentence purpose? Imperative. So you're going to fill it out just like this. So that's a wrap of our lesson, and you survived your first lesson of grammar, and I know you're going to do great at your homework. Just don't forget about your checklist for your sentence.